What's happening, boys? We all good?
Good, mate.
Not too bad.
Nice. What a wonderful feeling to come back and have some positivity, Tim. You must be absolutely... You've been sitting waiting on this to hit record for about 6 days, haven't you?
Oh, it's like I just want to tell you I told you so a bit Critchley, but then we obviously only drew today, so can't really say too much, but happy to get a 1-1-1.
A 1-1 win. I reckon there was some good scenes at the end with our 1-1 victory. Up there with our 0-0 draw, our 0-0 victory with Rangers at the start of the season. Aye. Cool. But aye, loads to talk about. Loads of positives to talk about too, which is really refreshing, because it feels like for ages since we actually were able to, especially Thursday. Like I said that, I was looking forward to Thursday. I was intrigued. It would be the first time we've seen the team in the flesh. I watched the game on St Mirren on TV, which you never ever get any of the sense of the tempo, the real tempo. You don't see the movements off the ball. You don't see how high the team is. You only see where you follow the ball. So it's hard to get a gauge as to actually what have we done, what's new, what's different. But Thursday is up there as one of the best performances for a long, long time. On the front foot, aggressive, tempo, brave, goal-scoring midfielders, chances. And if truth be told, if we took our actual chances and I don't even know if there were half chances, both the goals that we got, that could have been a very impressive scoreline. So loads to talk about. Plenty of positives to come out today as well, which we'll no doubt speak about. But Tam, what's been happening?
Not much, mate. Obviously I was at the game during the week. Didn't get too much of part-timers to go today, so used to were there, so you'll get the first-hand analysis where I'll be the VAR analysis, but aye.
Okay. Kev, been happening?
Not a great deal. Feel like all I've done over the past few days is work and watch football. It's been brilliant.
Aye. After our Zumba class, the game on Thursday with the non-stop bouncing and then sha-la-la at 12:15 on a Sunday, I hate silly kickoffs. I'm going to start. 100%. The only thing I'm going to say negative in this podcast today is I'm going to start a petition to say ban stupid o'clock kickoffs, because it's just pointless.
What's a worse kickoff? A 5:45 or a 12 o'clock?
12. Yeah. 12 is well.
5:45 on a Saturday is perfect.
Yeah.
Perfecto. But during the week, I just can't get into a Sunday 12 o'clock kickoff. I just didn't get it. It's just it's just a stupid kickoff time, because it takes you a bit to get warmed up and to get into it, because you remember that did the clocks go back as well? Or did it go forward?
You got an extra hour in your bed, basically. I know you don't sleep much, so it doesn't make a difference to you. But
that would be brilliant, My 1 hour and 45 minutes of sleep was fantastic. It was brilliant.
You just had an extra hour in nerves before the derby. That was it.
Mate, I don't know if I like it, hate it, or love it, but there is nothing like the feeling of nerves, excitement, whatever you want to call it. I've been a wee boy to now a year away from my 40th birthday. I get so unbelievably buzzing, so unbelievably nervous. I've got 2 little girls, a wife, I've got a job, been on nice holidays or whatever, and I still got my bed dreaming of being Wayne Foster scoring at Dunbar and jumping on the fence. And I'm like, does that ever go away?
30 years ago.
Exactly. Even last night in my dreams, I'm coming off the bench. I'm James Wilson today. Like, that was...
I was going to say, you've tied into James Wilson, a 17-year-old.
Exactly. Critch looking at me and going, Corbett with one fake knee, 39-year-old, probably about a stone and a half overweight, hasn't kicked a ball in 5 years. He's the guy to save the derby. Bring him on. Cool. Right. We'll talk the derby because it's the most recent. It obviously happened today. Then we'll go over the performance on Thursday night at home to Nicosia, and then look forward to, I think we've got Kilmarnock coming to Tynecastle on Wednesday. So we've got loads to talk about, loads to go over. Derby today, any surprises early with the team or anything like that? Did anything jump out to you?
For me, I was quite happy to see kept the sort of shape we've seen against St Mirren. In terms of that 4-4-2, it's not really a 4-4-2, but you know what I mean. But obviously missing Benny was calling it the shits.
Diarrhea.
But
mate, I can kind of complain at 9:05 this morning. I had diarrhea, so happens to us all.
It was nice to see. I don't know if you heard Critchley after the game. He did say that Benny turned up to training yesterday, said he was ready to go, and then had to be sent home. So fair enough to him for at least trying. But I was happy to see that.
Aye, Kev, yourself?
I didn't have any real qualms about the team. I thought there was a lot of what you would have classed as expected players in that team today. I think the one that maybe I genuinely thought, given that Benny was going to be out, I thought that Grant might have started ahead of Devlin, if I'm being honest, because we know perfectly well that Devlin's a wee bit hot-headed in these games, but give him his due for at least 62 minutes of the game or whatever it was. He held it all together and actually was half decent in that midfield today, winning a lot of balls and just doing the simple thing. He passed it off to somebody else.
I'm like the same. I don't think there was, when I seen the starting 11, there was no real shocks as to what I seen. But what I will say, and one of the positives that we've straight off the bat for Critchley, if this is what Critchley ball is going to look like, if this is what the future is going to look like, I said on the last podcast, let's see what happens on Thursday in terms of where we're at. Playing 4-2-4 at home to St Mirren is a different kettle of fish to playing in European football. And he stuck to his guns and played the exact same way, the exact same formation. And I've said before, and I think every Hearts fan can accept losing football matches because that's how football works. That's how it goes. If we can see what we're trying to do, if you can see the identity, and we focus on us, and that's all we've really been asking for ages and ages and ages, was don't reinvent the wheel, don't try to be too fancy, play the players in their best positions and the best formation that gets the best out of them. And if it falls short, they don't win. That's football. That's what happens. So I was absolutely buzzing. Got the game on Thursday to see that he'd played the exact same formation, the exact same setup. And I won't lie, when I seen today, I was thinking, right, Tynecastle, it's a tight pitch. You play 4 up front, you get them. There's less space for the opposition. It's intimidating. Cool. It's a bit of a bigger open space, that pitch. While we go to Easter Road in a derby and have the balls to have the same setup, the same philosophy, the same idea. And there we are again, exact same again. 4-4-2, 4-2-4, whatever one you want to call it. And again, rotating players out because of fitness or injuries, absolutely sound. But nobody came in today that was like, Salazar comes back after 14 weeks being nowhere and suddenly he's asked to play right wing back or something. Stephen Kingsley didn't play right back because we didn't have anybody else. The changes were a right back came out for a right back and a centre mid for a centre mid or whatever it was, or the attacking left winger for an attacking left winger. They all made sense. And that's, if we could sit with hindsight and revisionism with Robbie and Stephen A. Smith and sat and could have drew something on a whiteboard, say, this is what we're fucking talking about. Stop pissing about for the sake of pissing about. So I was buzzing when I seen the team. Genuinely buzzing. I've been nothing but impressed with how the team have set up today for the first. Thought, Kev, maybe you're different. David Gray was at the game on Thursday. I felt Hibs, the opening 10 to 20 minutes were spooked by us. I thought that they kind of let us have the ball and sat back almost scared to open up in case we were anywhere near the levels that we were on Thursday night. And I thought the first opening 15, 20 minutes, they looked terrified to even have the ball.
I think there was probably a lot of expectation that had they started to play it for the back, and we would have pressed them a hell of a lot higher than what we did. I think today showed that what Critchley's got in his, let's class it as in his locker, is the fact that he can actually set teams up differently. I think we effectively said, have the ball when they have the ball. However, when we have the ball, which we did have for a lot in the first 20 minutes, we use it well. We move forward with it. I thought Penrice, Spittle, and even Rolls, who looks still, as far as I'm concerned, very dubious as regards to that side of the back four. But those three players had a lot of positivity about them. The way in which they moved the ball, the way in which they got forward. I thought Penrice was great in that first 20 minutes. I thought he was outstanding. And to be honest with you, I thought he was outstanding for most of the match.
Yeah. I think that I think the opening, it's frantic in a derby. So I was never under the impression that we were going to go out and aggressively high press them from the start or whatever, because again, as we'll go on to discuss the game, their only threat realistically is balls into the box. That's where they caused us the most problems. It's one of the areas that Critchley's probably going to have to work on the most. The goal that we've conceded today is the most Hearts goal that we could concede this season. Carbon copy of missing first contacts, not being strong enough, flat-footed with balls into the box. And to be honest, they had, for the very first kick, for the kick-off, Frankie Kent missed his header and got a free kick from Gale, because Gale banged into him. We got a free kick. And I thought, oh, that's not a good sign. Gale's the height of Tom. Tom?
Tom.
Tom.
Who's Tom?
Hi, Tom.
Hiya.
He's the height of Tom. And then he missed a couple of his headers, and that was a theme throughout the game. Actually, he was pretty poor in there today, Frankie Kent. But that was realistically what Hibs' tactic was, and I thought that opening 15-20 minutes, I thought Hearts played really well. Penrice, I love Penrice. I think he's brilliant, and even Koku on the other side. I don't know why they didn't keep at it. Maybe it was because he was getting nothing from Dhanda in front of him in terms of where it was, but a couple of times he took his man on, absolutely rinsed him, got to the byline, put crosses in, and then they just kind of stopped doing that when they got into decent positions. But I thought the opening 10, 15, 20 minutes, the Hearts completely and utterly controlled the game. I think Hibs they must have watched the game on Thursday. David Gray was obviously there, and I think their tactic was, don't lose it in the opening 20 minutes. Don't go concede a couple of goals. Let them have the ball, face them up, and see where we can go and then grow into the game. And I thought Hearts opening 20 played pretty well without really carving them open. Kev, were you going to say something?
I was just going to ask you a question. You've been very vocal around it, Tam, even Ando, when we're all saying it, that Kingsley is or has been the best left back in the team. Is that now up for debate with regards to the improvement and the way in which Penrice has played at left back? Is it now a case that Kingsley is Penrice's backup, or is Kingsley actually the better player to actually play alongside Frankie Kent in a back four as a left hand side instead of Rolls? But that's my question.
Go on then, Tom.
Penrice is a better left back for me than Kingsley, especially if we've got a right back.
He's not.
No,
He's not a better left back. He's a better option.
He's a better option, especially when we've got a right back in the situation that we've got Oyegoke, because we need somebody with legs on the left hand side. So we've got Penrice that can go up and down, and he'll go for days and he'll just run and do whatever. But if you've got Oyegoke who's not as mobile, I think Penrice is the best option we have at left back. I still think Kingsley is a better centre half than Rills, but even with Rills having the same, he's been played pretty well the last two games. But yeah, that's for me.
Well, I would say that it's one of those weird byproducts of when you're I'm standing in Section X on Thursday watching Hearts absolutely pummel a team in Europe that have got results against Man United and all these teams, and thinking, some beep in the summer watched Blair Spittle play football and went, I know what he'd be good at. Let's transform his whole game and ask him to sit and be a defensive midfielder and hold the ball. And I think, who watches him? Even everything about him screams, that's where you need to get the best out of him. Let him do what he's doing. Give him the freedom. Get him close. Let him... I said this in a podcast last week. It might have got missed because folk probably turned off because it was slightly racist material. But start of the season, Shanklin looked like isolated mess up front because he was by himself playing against back threes, back fours, whatever. And we talked about it, Kev, what you would say. If you are, whatever he's called, O'Hara or whatever he's called, and the other guy at the back with Hibs today, you say, right, pass on Shanklin to him. We'll double up on him or whatever it needs to be. We've got him. There's no one else there. When you have Shanklin there and you've got Devlin or Benny or Boateng or whoever is the next closest person to him, teams go, okay, have the ball 25 yards out for goal because you're not going to shoot. We know you're not going to shoot. So, fine. All you're going to do is recycle the ball across the park, probably go backwards and probably restart the move. What you see now is you've got Dhanda that can score from outside the box and will shoot. You've got Spittle that can score and will shoot outside of the box. You've got Shanklin that can score in and out of the box. It now means that whenever the ball comes up and is in the final third for Hearts, every defender in that Hibs backline has to think who's where. Whether it's Dhanda one side, Spittle the other, whether it's Penrice overlapping or Ogie overlapping, Shanklin dropping deep, Shanklin going through, Vargas deep, Vargas going through. We occupy all of them, but not only them, you're then asking their two defensive midfielders, their sitting midfielders of the opposition, you have to be there. When we win first contacts, you've got to be in that space because if it drops, Spittle can score, Dhanda can score. And it makes a massive difference. There's a chance for Spittle on Thursday that he'd scored, but he'd just put it wide for it. He could have got a second of the game. They are terrified that he's running at them because they don't know what to do. Because if they go forward and try to engage with him, he'll slip Vargas or Shanklin in. If they leave him, he can curl it in the top corner. And it went wide and we never scored. And we won't score every single opportunity. But when you're in the minds of the people that are running about you, it makes a huge difference. And to caveat or to go back to a point that you made there, that now that Rose isn't worrying about where he's meant to be, who's beside him, playing in different positions, different ideas, when he's supposed to go, when he's not, when he's meant to press, when he's meant to drop. And now he only has two instructions: win the ball and pass it. He looks a player transformed. Totally. He looks an absolute player transformed. And that's a huge that's a huge difference. And we've got options like that all over the park. The reason I started that with the Spittle thing in the defensive midfield is that one of the benefits of us having crackpot managers in the past is that Stephen Kingsley was the best left back that we had. He was unbelievable. He was superb. And then we got Cochrane. And for seasons, we tried to play this hybrid thing of having Cochrane in 1 week, Kingsley in the next. Cochrane as a left wing back, Kingsley in the back three. We couldn't get that ever settled in that side of the park. And what it's done is that Kingsley's such a good player that he went from being the best left back at the club to being the best left-sided centre-half at the club. And that's where I think he is now, is that I don't think he's competing with Penrice for that position. I think Salazar, when he settles and gets up to speed and gets amalgamated into the squad, Salazar will be Penrice's competition. I think we have three centre-halves at the club: Kingsley, Rose and Kent, and it's between them three for those two centre-half positions because, again, what crackpot watches Blair Spittle and thinks, oh, he wants to be a sitting midfielder. Ogie has came in as a right back, has never played there under Stephen Naismith as a right back. Now he's playing as a right back in that position, and suddenly he looks like a right back. And it's like, wow. Render me shocked that that's happening.
There's a point the day where he ran through like three folk, put a good cross in, and you're like, fuck.
What we did? I know. With Avril Lavigne's son, Natty Atkinson, and his skateboard, do you know what I mean? Going down Stockton Park, pissing about. Again, there's options all over the park now. I actually think, Kev, the day I thought Rose was the best centre half. I thought he was miles better than Kent. I thought Kent was spooked early with Gale, never really settled into the game, even at the point where there was a bit in the second half. Actually, Gordon ended up shanking it out for a throw-in, and it led to a corner where they almost scored for it. The ball was coming back, and Frankie Kent could have kneed it back to Gordon.
Aye.
Or he could have headed it back to Gordon, and he didn't.
Pretty poor pass.
And then he ended up getting him a hospital ball, send him at in the half volley to the one guy on the park that cannot kick the ball. And what are you doing? Knee it back to him. He picks it up and we're jamming. There's nothing to do. I thought Rose has been... He's been brilliant since we simplified.
Does that pain you to say that?
No, it doesn't.
The mad thing is though, like a year and a half ago, pre-World Cup, he was also, you were saying the same things, genuinely, Corbett. And then since then, he was like, just fucked it. And it's probably that simplification thing that is just...
Always. Everybody, it's not just me. Anybody that watches Hearts, any Joe Public sitting in a pub, a club, a supporters bus, wherever, if we were to sit down and say, what were the issues with Robbie Nielsen's Hearts? What were the issues with Stephen Naismith's Hearts? Loads of they were overcoached. Too many messages, too many mixed messages. Try to be too fancy. Try to have different structures and different times of the games and change formation week on week. It killed the tempo, killed the rhythm, killed those relationships. Even today, folk will moan, and I've seen people moan about Shankland and Vargas and all that, and neither of the two of them were absolutely superb today. But again, this is their, third game proper where they've got two clear these are your instructions and these are your objectives. This is all I want you to do. And you can see that they are very close to it starting to click, and when it does click, it'll be deadly because they're starting to know when to come deep and when to go long, where to be. A couple of times Shanklin clipped the ball into space and Vargas never ran. And it's like that understanding where they're meant to be. Vargas especially, mate. I think he's played left wing, 10, right wing. He's played up front by himself. He's played up front in a 2. He's a young boy. He's learning the game. He's learning the Scottish game. Shankland has been, I don't think, in another free roll, you score goals, you can do what you want. And you've said it a million times. We've said it a million times before. He used to roam about and he'd drop deep so he could cut in and get shots away and all that sort of stuff. Now it's probably the first time he's played with Hearts where he's had some proper instructions where we want him to be. Because if we play 4 up front, he can't just roam out to the right wing or the left wing, because then we're overcrowded in that area and there's nobody there. The whole point of having the 4 up front is so that we can get overlaps or get to the byline and get the ball in the box. He's the boy that's meant to be in the box. So now he's got a structure, he's got a bit where he needs to be. And again, you should simplify the messages, and I think Kai Rose has been a thing with that. I've said before, his worst traits are when he's overcomplicated, he's rash, breaks lines, tries too hard. He seems like a man with a weight off his shoulders. He's playing much, much better. So opening 20 was good without being deadly or effective. I think we've probably had about 1,000 touches inside their box, and just that last bit, Tam, that sort of pass or shot or cross, just lacking a wee bit of quality.
Usual sort of Edinburgh derby, isn't it, though? When it lacks quality, it's a bit nervy. No team kind of wants to get beat. You were obviously at the game, but it was at the time of that, it was kind of on Sky, it was like 75% possession Hearts or something at that point. And it was like But a lot of the possession that I just found was very much the Nielsen Naismith mantra things. It was Rills, Kent. There was not a lot of forward passes, which was the thing that was annoying me. But it is one of those things they set up to take that pressure, and it's how you beat that.
Being at the game, Kevin, maybe you've got a slightly different or opinion on what it was. Our right hand side, I felt we had nothing there in the first half. I don't think it was a game for Dhanda.
Yep.
I don't think it was a game for Dhanda. I didn't have a good game, and I felt that on the left hand side we were more effective. We were trying to get to the byline. Penrice was getting up and was getting involved, and we were whenever we couldn't get where we needed to be with fast and incisive passes down the left, we recycled the ball to the right, so it would come back through Kent to Rouse and out into Ogie, and most of the time they were passing and pinging the ball into Dhanda, and he was turning back and passing it back to them, and it was like, you're looking for him to be a bit braver, get on the ball, take his man on, just try and do something a bit different. And I felt that was where, if there was one criticism of today that was a major criticism, it would be that I just don't think it was a game for Dhanda. I don't think he really settled into anything, Kev.
No, he didn't. And I think the biggest frustration from my point of view with regards to Dhanda, and it could be one of two things. It could be quite simply that was what his instructions were. His instructions were to be slightly more inside Ogie so that Ogie could actually go towards the byline to whip crosses in. Right? No, we won't know what the actual answer is. But what frustrated me most about Dhanda's performance today was, especially in the second half, you could see, given where I was at the Dunbar end, you could see how much space was in front of Ogie. And every single time Dhanda was like pointing inside him, as if to say, there's the pass to a Devlin, to a Boateng, to a Kent, whatever it may be. When you're actually looking at it from our point of view, going, actually, the right ball is to go down the line and for you to run into that space. And it felt like it was such a big thing for him personally. I know there was all this conversation and interviews way back at the beginning of the season about how he knew how much of importance the Hearts Hibs game actually is. His uncle and brother-in-law, whatever it is, whatever the relationship is, has told him how important this game actually is. You don't lose this particular game. And I think that was on his shoulders, in that sometimes it felt he didn't actually want the ball as such. And then when he did get the ball and turn in, he was turning into a busy area because they were so, so central. So he was always going to make it difficult for himself. That's the way it appeared from the other side of the ground from where you were.
Yeah, Tam.
To be honest, Kev, I think you're spot on for what I've seen for your TV. But do you think, like, had he been playing the other side of the pitch and he's got a Penrice running on and showing for passes and stuff, would it have been the same situation, or is Oyegoye just not as mobile? Or
no, I think sorry,
Magic. Well, on you go, Kev.
No, I'm just going to say I think a lot of that was just the fact that was the way he wants, as an individual, he wants to play. He wants to be more middle of the park, so he automatically he'll drive into that. Whereas, and even as I understand it, and hey, we only seen 3 games at Ross County's last season. I think that was, he was always played in the middle of the park. That's where he feels most comfortable. Definitely. So when you're asking him to do something that's maybe against his normal gameplay, then it becomes a bit of a challenge. And I think that's maybe where he was today, coinciding with the actual, the occasion itself. I think the occasion just maybe got to him a wee bit.
I think the physicality got in play as well. He's not the most physical, was he?
But yes to all of that. But also, he's not playing. He's not playing. Do you know what I mean? And confidence is bred by getting game time, getting on the park. Like, do you know what I mean? You come in, and if you've got confidence, you try something a bit different. You maybe try to be a bit more direct. You maybe try and get there. If you're not confident and you're not playing and you're in and out of the team every week, you try to do what you do the best you can. So you keep it safe. You know what I mean? You keep the ball and keep it and pass it back, and don't do anything daft, and just try and stay steady and grow into the game or whatever. And I think that Danda's going to be one of those players that, he never played on Thursday. He played on the Saturday versus St Mirren, drops out, doesn't play on the Thursday, then plays in the derby. If he gets a start on Wednesday and gets a start on in Perth, they're the things that we're going to see the best out of Dhanda. I said it before. I know we've said it a million times. I said stuff about Alan Forrest. If Alan Forrest got the game time that Barry Mackay got back in the day when under Nielsen, there's a player in Alan Forrest. He's got an assist and a goal in the last 2 games as well. Coming off the bench today.
You're calling that assist, are you?
Why not?
First header he's ever won, actually, to be fair. So you must.
He's done. He's done what you asked for. I'm giving him it.
But it's no coincidence that's, we all know that Shankland needs a goal and he'll probably go on a run where he'll score in every game for the rest of the season or something like that. Dhanda needs games. He's came as a bit of a marquee signing, probably the marquee signing of the summer for Hearts, coming to a club that he's affiliated with, that he loves. He's done all that. And then he's found himself in and out of the team. In a team that isn't winning matches, isn't got any fluidity about them until the last 8 days type thing. So I think Danda's one where he almost reset the clock and say that actually, if you look at it in isolation for the St Mirren game until today, he's probably had 3. He did come on against Nicosia, but it was for injury time or something, innit? I think we judge him on game times, but he didn't have a good game. I think, like you said, when he did come inside, he went into busy areas, so he just had to give the ball away. He didn't stretch enough so that he could go past him. He didn't whatever it was, it just didn't happen for Dhanda today. And I think that probably, if there was any negatives in terms of people that I thought had a properly bad game, if you were to label it on anybody, I don't think anybody had an absolute stinker. No. But I don't think Dhanda did anything, left any mark on the game.
And what probably highlighted it even a bit, even more, was the fact that when Penrice, Rowles, and Spittle played those little triangles, what you were finding is Spittle was spinning, was turning the boy inside out. The boy didn't care whether he was going left, right, or what. So from that point of view, I think Spittle's gameplay today highlighted more what we want from Dhanda as well as, and I know that's not the same. It's not the same player, but I think you just felt that the balance wasn't there between the two sides on your left and your right hand side. Because, as I say, I thought, and it might be a bit of a bold statement, but I think what you're starting to see now is a bit of a relationship building between Penrice and Spittle. And that sort of
you saw that in the Sparring game as well, Kev, though, 100%.
Yeah, and it goes back to what Corbett's just said the other now, right? That comes from playing regularly, in the right position, knowing who's in front of you, and so it's that element of just building a relationship. We'd seen it before with Cochrane, and to an extent Kingsley when they played in front of each other. And I actually thought that might have been an option today, is to take Dhanda off, bring Kingsley into left back, and push Penrice further forward. I think you might have seen a good balance on both sides by doing that. But hey, that's all hindsight.
But then, if we go back 4 weeks and we make that substitution, we're all smashing the place up because 100%. We're square peg round hole in it, if you know what I mean. I think that's what I've liked the most about Critchley so far, is that a competitive squad is a squad that knows that they can maybe get a game. That's what you need. So if there's 3 centre halves at the club and only 2 centre half spots, that means that they always have to be on it, because one could drop out and the other one can come in, so they're ready and they know where they're going to play. If there's 2 left backs and we only ever play with a left back, there's 2 right backs and we only ever play with a right back, you've got 1v1 in those positions, and it keeps them both true, keeps them both honest. Same with your strikers, same with your midfielders. When you're a right back and you're watching, 1 week they're playing 3 at the back, so it's right wing backs, and you're not in the squad and you can't get a game, but the guy that was playing right back is left back. You're like, what the fuck? Where am I? How am I even getting in this team? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, where
Alec
am I going
Pollers
to
is
fit in?
playing right wing back in that. Fucking hell.
Aye, and that's where we're like, and that's what's good about this is if this is what it's going to be, that's what creates the competitive squad. And I said right at the very start, the thing that killed Barry Robson, Robbie Nielsen, Stephen Naismith was European football, we need to get 2 players for every position and you bloat the squad. And it's like, no, what you need actually is a clear style of play, a formation that you know that works. You can have some in the background formations for when it goes tits up, or you're down to 10 men and you're chasing a game, and you can work on all that stuff. That's sensible, but have one clear, this is the formation, this is where we play, these are your positions, and this is what I want you to do to get into that team. And if you're in the team, this is what I want you to do, stay in the team. And that's what killed them, is because they're all over the place. And the other thing too that I seen it in the community chat that no one's really spoke about is that team's not fit.
100%.
It's not fit.
Yeah.
We've spoke about that at length, right? The pre-season, we looked one of the unfittest teams in the league. Critchley's come in and asked them to be aggressive and high press, and it's no coincidence that on Thursday we were gassed at 70. Do you know what I mean? And today we looked a bit gassed until the substitutions revitalised us a little bit as well. This team, we can't get any fitter other than through match sharpness and playing games. That's we can't do anything because we're in a season. You can't work on your core fitness and all that sort of stuff. We can only build on what we already have. So that plays a part. That plays a part as well. Where we're at as this team, they're trying to play a more aggressive thing. They're going to gas it, and I think that Shankland with the offside goal on Thursday. If that was, it sounds like it was 20 minutes earlier, he probably stays on side there. He's just ran himself into the ground. So there's loads to be positive. Obviously the rest of the first half, Kev, it kind of they grew into it a little bit in terms of where we're at. But again, their whole tactic was to try and win fouls, win free kicks, win long throw-ins, win corners, because that was the only way they weren't cutting us open. I think all of their chances were headers, where free headers seems to be our Achilles heel. I just don't know what it is. We went all last season not conceding from a set play, and now we seem to be trying to catch up for it and only conceding for set plays, corners, throw-ins or crosses into the box. The rest of the second half, first half just kind of petered out, didn't it?
Before you answer, Kev, that doesn't sound like the Hibs way to play football. Is it not total football way of Hibs?
Aye, total free kicks, total corners, total any way we can actually make, because they struggled at certain times today, and even their most devout of fan will say there was some absolute woeful play from them. Passing the ball out the park without anybody even being close to them. And yes, I mean there's no two ways about it. They had the better chances. There's no getting away. Gordon's made 2 very good saves in the first half. One is quite clearly just straight out of that sort of automatic reaction to the header from, I think it was Dwight Gale, wasn't it? Was it Dwight Gale? His name
they were all Dwight Gale, to be honest.
Aye, and then the other one, he's thrown himself at it and he's actually put it back into play, which isn't like, I think it was actually, unlike Gordon, if you know what I mean, i.e. he puts it back towards the penalty spot or the edge of the box, and then somebody gets a block on it. But yeah, they did have the better chances. Shankland was unfortunate, or it appeared unfortunate with regards to his chance at the end of the first half, but he's just blasted it straight at the boy. And I know he is ropey, and that's me being nice about it. But if that had been anywhere other than that sort of area of chest height, if that was down at his feet, down low, I don't think he's getting it. I don't think he is a great goalkeeper, that's for sure.
Yeah. I think it was funny. Since I was a wee boy, got to these games, my dad's always said the same thing. It's like, they'll either come out and be all guns blazing for the opening 10 minutes, 20 minutes. They'll have a few close chances and there'll be something. There'll be a Hearts shot, a snapshot, or a breakaway, or something that spooks them and they shit themselves. And then the crowd will turn. And then because they've all been there and sat through these derbies time after time again where they should win it or they think they're going to win it and they don't, and we dig it out. Our worst teams, our best teams, any teams, it's what happens in the derby. And it was funny that we were like, in the space of honest, it must have been about 3 minutes. I think they had a couple of throw-ins, and then see that way where it was like the ball went, they won a couple of tackles and it went out for a throw into them, and it was like yes, come on! Like, the crowd got up for it. And within about 4 passes, they were like, like pure absolutely raging because they couldn't get near it. And but like the first half was filled, like you said, they're the clearest of the chances in terms of the clean chances. But Hearts were like, I think there was a bit where Dhanda could have cut it back. There was a time where like Vargas was in a better position. I think he tried to cut it back. Obviously Shanklin's shot as well. He'd been anywhere other than straight at the goalkeeper, chest tight. We might have made him ask a different question. So we had loads of little bits where it could have been okay. So the first half was a typical derby. For Seth, I was probably a bit surprised to see Dhanda come back out. I was being honest with you. That was probably about the only change I was really screaming for was for Dhanda to go. But other than that, was there anything you expected changed at halftime, Kev?
No, it's exactly like I said earlier on. I thought if there was going to be a change, it was going to be for Dhanda. Whether that be Forrest to come in and just as a straight swap, or as I say, there is always that opportunity or that option of putting Kingsley in and moving Penrice slightly further forward. Because I think he had the beating of that there right back the day. Is that the boy Miller?
That's one of the things that struck me the most about watching that Hibs side is I couldn't tell you any of them. Like, if I'm being honest with you, I couldn't. Martin Boyle, because he's obviously Martin Boyle, and we've got history with him. But the rest of it, just utter dross. I can't believe they had a standing ovation for Jake Doyle-Hayes coming on. Like, when did they dig him back up? Where's he been?
Corbett, I didn't even know they had that boy for Celtic. I don't even know if he's on loan. The Kwan boy, like I didn't even know
he's quite a good player, by the way. I like him.
I know he is good, but like I didn't even know he played with him. And regardless,
meaningless.
They're a team in trouble, I think, if I'm being brutally honest. I know it's disappointing we didn't beat them. Like, I'd have been absolutely livid if they'd beat us. But they just don't look good. They didn't seem to have too many randoms that didn't get it. I know that's a pure football cliche thing to say that they don't get it, but
that Yuan was absolutely shite today as well. Like,
I know. It annoys me. He's got goals against us.
Aye, but he's Jekyll and Hyde, isn't he? He's a proper Jekyll and Hyde kind of player, i.e. he'll have an absolute worldie for 1 week and then be unknown for 6.
And I understand they're signing a Hoylett. He was actually all right today, but as you say, Kev, he's Yuan. What is he now?
He just seems to be a very sort of. I guess he's a fairly difficult player to get on board with because he's so inconsistent. But hey, that's their worry. That's no ours. And the one good thing.
The Ramones, Kev. What the fuck? Oh, let's go. Hey. Oh,
correct.
Get the guitar out, Tam. It's behind you. Let's go.
I'm in.
Get the other element off when they go. Kev's Joey Ramone.
The other
something
the
I can actually play as well, Corbett. That's fine.
Wow. Might get a rendition of that next week, Tam. Or sorry, Tom. Sorry, my bad.
Tom.
It's okay. The other element about this result today, that keeps David Gray in a job.
Does it though? Do
yes.
you genuinely think it does? That's a draw is a worse result for David Gray than it is Neil Critchley though. Today, isn't it?
Oh, 100%. But if he'd got beat today, he would have been sacked. I think if he loses today, he would have been sacked. However, picking up a point in a derby, that I think will give him 2-3 weeks at least.
Mate, they'll build a statue. Then they'll get not losing a derby is as good as winning a derby to them. They'll build a statue. Second half, Kev, we lost our way in the second half. I think up until the goal kind of sparked us back into life, if I'm being honest with you, along with the substitutions. I thought the substitutions were pretty brave, if I'm being honest with you. You turn into a bench and giving the 17-year-old a nod over a Boyce, for example.
Magic.
Whatever was something that I liked. And I thought the players that came on all made a difference. They all got us further up the park again. Who didn't make a difference, Kev?
Barry Mackay. I'm sorry. I mean, until the guy scores a hat trick.
I actually thought he done well, Kev. I've
headers.
I didn't think he did well, but he was non-offensive. He got us. He was actually making those passes that I was hoping and looking for Dhanda to make in the first half.
Exactly.
There was a couple where the corner that led to Spittle and Penrice and all that getting coined were all from Barry Mackay passes, So fair play to him. You know that I'm his biggest critic. I wouldn't bring him on for these games. I think, like we spoke about Devlin. Devlin plays in a derby for me because he's what you need in a derby. Yes.
I thought he was good. I thought he was great for the first 60 minutes.
It's a bold move to take Devlin and Boateng off at the same time, though, isn't it?
And you've got to give Critchley credit for that, right? He's taken off those two centre midfielders. He's asked Spittle to come inside to allow Barry Mackay to go and play in that hole. You've then asked Grant to play in there as well, and given Forrest that sort of other side. And as Corbett's rightly said, he's given the nod to a young lad. Go make a name for yourself, pal. Go and just challenge him. And this is before the goal and everything else. You've seen Shankland in a different light when Wilson came on, because Shankland all of a sudden had to sort of protect him to an extent. There was a couple of occasions that I don't know what the centre half's name was or who it was, but kept elbowing him and tried to get in about him because he thought, here we go, I've got an easy light, I've got an easy route here into a young lad. I'll just boss him. But he was having it, and neither was Shankland, and I applaud Shankland for that.
I like the fact that you've said it there. It's bold taking Devlin and Boateng off, right? But actually, when you sit and look at it and say they're two holding midfielders, we've got fuck all to hold on to.
Exactly.
We're getting beat. There's nothing to hold on to anymore. And I like that. If that's Critchley ball, then I'm all for it. I've said that. Said that before. We're getting beat. So what do you want to do? You like for like substitutions and play the same formation that isn't working and the same players that aren't working, or go try be aggressive and go fuck it. If we get beat, getting beat 1-0 is the same as getting beat 2. Might as well go try and get something because you might be able to snatch it. And I like that it was brave. It got us further up the park, like I said. And then your two guys that are in the middle of the park can make passes. They can drive forward. They're not just there to win the ball back. They can carry the ball as well. And Devlin, I've seen people slag it. Devlin is what Devlin is, right? That's, if you're still getting rattled that he's not a box-to-box midfielder that scores goals, it's not Cammy Devlin. Right? That's not what he does. If Critchley plays him and says, all I want for you is absolute bags of energy, win us the ball back. And if he can work on that little bit, like I said, they didn't cause us any problems in the first half. Devlin gives away a stupid free kick in the edge of the box and Dwight Gale gets a free header. They almost score from it. Cammy Devlin makes a stupid challenge on Boyle at the thing and gives away the free kick that they score for. It's those wee brain farts. But there was hundreds of 50-50s that he won, hundreds where he slid in.
Second balls, man.
But all that stuff, that's what you want. And if we can coach him properly, again, and they want to be all happy clapping Tam on the Lego bus, right? But if we restart again and say, this squad has been coached by absolute numbskulls, right? We know that. We just said it there. Who watches Blair Spittle and says, play him as a defensive midfield? We had the same numbskull saying, put Cammy Devlin as a 10. Yeah. So if we can get somebody that can coach Cammy Devlin to say, mate, I want you to be Cammy Devlin, right? Stop trying to score. Didn't go anywhere else in the park. Control your anger. Channel it properly. win the ball back, get in people's faces and get it to somebody else. That's all I want for you. Then who knows? We could get a player out of there. That's maybe what we need. But I thought that Cammy Devlin, although he does what Cammy Devlin does and he's away stupid stuff, you need him in a derby. You need him in the derby. And the fact that he get booed off by the home crowd when he went off tells you what you need to know about.
And the thing is, you see him winning 50-50 balls. He won probably every 50-50 ball.
But he also
was winning balls at
great tackles.
46.
He made brilliant tackles for like the side where you're thinking if he doesn't win the ball here, he's getting booked.
Yep.
Like, do you know what I mean? And he done them brilliantly.
We talked Boateng and Devlin. They ran that midfield as long as they were on. The Hibs midfield never got near them.
See, Boateng had a final product at the end, i.e. shots on target.
It wouldn't be at Hearts.
100% he wouldn't be. But that's maybe something for me to work on.
No one spoke about it enough. He is unbelievable. He is a superb football player. He was brilliant on Thursday.
Yeah.
He was, and no one's speaking about it. He's went totally under the radar. A signing that we never.
Oh no, Corbett. Somebody is speaking about it. There's a boy calling us on Twitter that says we love Boateng, but he's a terrible football player.
Oh, yeah.
Who's that?
I can't remember, but he's got a Scotland flag as his Twitter profile. And
one of your pals.
I wish it was. If it was, I would tell him. But
I think he's absolutely.
He has been the best. Like in terms of actually both our most underrated signings, Penrice and him, would have probably out of the three of us would have been like not really that excited about them having them in. They've been the best signings out of a lot of them, to be honest, haven't they?
Yeah.
Boateng, Penrice, Spittle. That's your three in my opinion.
I think they're good players. He's everything that we need in the midfield. But don't underestimate as well that it's probably going to be Boateng and Benny. If I'm being honest with you.
I like that though. I genuinely like that.
At home, I don't have a problem with it, given what we played or how we played last Saturday.
I think away that's also good in terms of breaking down and ability. I like it.
That's it. If we can get them properly coached, I'm happy with any of them doing what they're asked to do. And Benny is good at winning the ball back and giving it to people.
He's the best at it. He's the best at it.
Now, if we're going to play 4-2-4, then you need to sit and hold in midfielders because you're essentially asking Ogie Penrice to go up and get involved in attack. So you need people to sit with Kent and Rose and make sure that we don't get countered on or whatever. So I'm all for it. And again, huge credit to the manager for switching it, taking the two holding midfielders off, getting a bit more attacking, going for it. The goal's a mess. Their goal, being honest with you, it's. I can't make up my mind. I can't make up my mind if I think Gordon should do better, if that's harsh, if we just all should do better. But it seems to be our Achilles heel this season, Kev. We just don't seem to be set proper for set plays.
It's a strange one. I've watched the goal back a couple of times. I think we should actually win the first ball at the back post. I think it's Boateng actually. That might be the only thing he doesn't do well today is the fact that he didn't really defend that the best. And I know that you've called out, Gordon, maybe his position isn't great. He can't move his feet quick enough. But it's one of those ones that's actually that horrible high sort of looping header that's came back towards goal, and he's got his cell and he's palmed it onto the crossbar. A bit more on it, and he puts that over for a corner, and we're not even talking about it. Do you know what I mean? I think it's one of those ones that you just go, it happens in football.
My thing's always been the same way, Gordon, is he's 6'4" or 6'3", whatever it is. He's 7 foot with his hands up in the air like that. Come and have a presence in the 6-yard box. Come in. That's the thing that it gets me. He's not going to change. He's fucking 42, right? Do you know what I mean? But That's my anyways. I think, could a keeper come and punch that when it's in midair? Can the keeper, like you said, get more on it and put it over the bar? Can the keeper catch it? Like, I don't. It's a mess. It's a mess for everybody. We missed the first contact as always. We've had numerous warnings. All their half chances were from missed first headers, missed contacts, balls into the box. We need to get better at that. It's something that needs to be worked on. I said Kent had a bit of a nightmare all day today with winning headers. From
no like him as well.
He's been the one that if we're going to be completely honest, and I've dragged Kairos over the coals hundreds of times. Frankie Kent actually has been nowhere near the levels as what he was this time last year.
I agree, yeah.
So, not bad, and he's been nowhere. I don't mean he's been bad by any stretch, but I think if it's reviewing a call it rolls for his indiscretions, and you got to say that Kent, of all of us, all of the back four, looks like he's lost a slight bit of confidence. But just a messy goal time, innit?
100%. Like Kev says, I've watched it back a few times, and I'm like, at the time I was like, what is Gordon doing? And I'm thinking, is he in the wrong? But at the same time, he's palming the ball away for somebody coming in. There's multiple defensive errors, and you know what I liked about, again, what Critchley come out and said. He said there's multiple defensive errors. He said we need to work on that, and it's another thing on his place. I know you can always just like take what a manager says at face value, but I just like the way he speaks and reviews things. Exactly how we probably do.
Well, you can go back to the podcast where we started hitting the waffle alert with Stephen Naismith, because that was one of the things I liked the most about Stephen Naismith last season, was he called it pretty fairly, called it how he seen it, never too high, never too low, said when we got the rub of the green, said when it went against us, all that sort of stuff. And then when he started waffling about decisions and not getting our chances and just the usual, like, yeah, God, we're on this is the warning signs. So hopefully Critchley can keep it up. Kev and other folk in listener land that are listening, the reaction from Hibernian to the goal, if anybody that's not a Hearts or Hibs fan looking in from the outside and wondering why does it feel so predictable that Hearts will score or get a result in these games, it's the reaction to scoring and going 1-0 up. Because if this game was at Tynecastle and teams in the same positions, same narrative, same mood music, all that sort of stuff, it's all right, Tim, you can go for a pee.
Thanks, man.
You're not old enough or been to enough derbies to know what I'm about to say next.
Oh,
so
sick,
you can go for a pee. Think about the time Livy played Partick Thistle or something. But if that game had been at Tynecastle and Hearts had scored in the 63rd minute to go 1-0 up, with Hibs, with the goal put in Hibs, bottom of the league, all that, so Hearts would have went on to win that game 2-0, 3-0 or whatever. We'd have went for the jugular, tried to kill it. They scored and immediately thought, shit, we might win a derby. Let's hold on to what we have. Let's shut up shop. Let's make the changes. Let's take our attackers off, bring a defender on. Let's try and see the game out with 30 minutes still left of the match. And I think after, like anything, the game always goes a bit ropey after a goal. A couple of minutes, 5 minutes after their goal, we settled. And if we'd played an extra 5 minutes, Hearts would have won that game.
I think you're right. I think there's an element as well that although they were 1-0 up, they never felt comfortable. You've seen them winning like a free kick, but taking ages to actually take the free kick, winning a throw in, taking ages to get the throw in. Their keeper goes down, he's not even touched the ball. What the shitting hell was going on with that? So all these kind of tactics are, in my opinion, things that we've seen under Robbie away back, things we've sometimes seen even under like Stendhal, Naismith, is that element of we have going to try every trick in the book to get to the 90th minute. And that's how it felt. I think even in the stands, I think a lot of them were, I think a lot of their fans also felt on edge that what we all say, 1-0 is a very, it's a very difficult scoreline. To actually try and see out a 1-0 with 25, 28 minutes, whatever it was left to play, and and then injury time is a very, very, for a team who are bottom of the league and who are struggling as Hibs appear to be, is a very, very, risky strategy in my opinion. And, I thought they got lucky with their changes. We have said it before, changes, whether they be for us or for the opponent, always change the actual way they play, the way the game itself for at least 5 minutes, because everybody's then starting to try and get themselves into that pace of the game, etc., etc.
Yep.
I think they got fairly lucky with their goal, but that gave them a boost. Then they started to win headers, free kicks, corners, throw-ins, and they started to try and slow the game down, try and maintain their 1-0 victory. How long is he pissing for, by the way?
That's what it does.
Aye. So from that point of view, I felt it was just like, you felt it was coming. And I also think what happened last Saturday was playing in a number of players' minds. Losing 2 goals in the last, 6 minutes of the game. Because as soon as we did get a couple of chances, they were getting very nervous. Very, very nervous in regards to nobody wanted the ball. It was big punts, get rid, didn't want it. Whereas we were quite happy to take it. I think it was
the Shanklin chance that hit the side netting, spooked them. And then it was, let's shut up shop. But again, it's that mentality thing where you just, it's hard, it sounds so arrogant if you're a Hibs fan listening to this. Well, I don't know why you're, get it up you anyway if you're. But it's just year after year, game after game, record after record of knowing that we will more than likely get a chance and score. So you have to go get 2. You have to go try and get 3. You have to go try and kill the game, because the longer it goes on, the more pressure builds on them. The more that you know that we're going in. It's that mindset that it's just different. Critchley said it. He's been in the door, 8 days or something like that. He's been in the door, 10 at a push. And he's said for the start, the minute you walk in, the first thing people said was, by the way, don't lose the derby. Don't lose the derby. Derby means everything. Yep. Derby's the most important game. It's drilled into everybody, every signing, every manager, every player, every owner. We don't lose this game. And I think that it went, you could just sense that, like you said, they didn't go for the jugular. They didn't go try and get 2, 3, go put a statement, go cement us at the bottom of the league. They thought, oh my God, we could win this. Let's hang on. And they put themselves under pressure for half an hour to try and hold on to a lead. And like I said, if we'd played 5 more minutes of that game, Hearts would have went on to win that match. We were absolutely pummeling them with the last 5 minutes to go. They were hanging on for absolute dear life. It's a weird mentality. People don't get it. I think that's 5 undefeated we are now in the derby.
Will be.
There was
I'm sorry, I was just going to say
1 out of 15.
Yeah, 15.
I think if we avoid defeat Tynecastle on the 26th of December, that'll take us into 2025, and it will be 5 years or something since the last beat us at Tynecastle. I think they beat us in the Daniel Stendhal 2020 season on Boxing Day.
2019
something
Boxing Day.
Do you know what I mean? It's crazy. It's mad. But the reaction, like I said, the substitutions, going for it, getting up the park, the reaction to it going a goal down, and then it's a brilliant moment for James Wilson, isn't it? Dunbar End, 17-year-old, Hearts fan. You don't get much better than that.
Yep.
Best thing about it, though, I don't know if you're going to say the same, Kev, but he grabs the ball and goes to take it back to the centre circle.
Right. Because it goes back to what we were just talking about the other now. He knows it. He knows perfectly well that's us 1-1. They're buckle. They're not recovering from this, especially given how late it was in the game. What was that, the 88th minute?
86.
86 was it? So 86 minute, you know you've got at least 3-4 minutes to play the rest of the game, plus whatever you're going to get an injury time. You know perfectly well there's going to be at least one more chance for the team. And it could have been more than that had Spittle, I think it was just after they took centre, and Spittle tried to play Shankland in, but slipped and fell on his arse.
Oh, yeah.
I actually think I was more frustrated at that than I was actually losing the goal in the first place.
But aye. And it's a good finish, Tim. It's instinctive. He's not drawn to the ball, stays where he needs to be, and doesn't he snatch at it, doesn't he? It's a good finish. Like,
you know what? He's got in the right place at the right time. Exactly what you want for a striker. Do you hear? I don't know if you actually heard Critchley with his post-match interview. He was saying that he doesn't actually think it was Wilson's goal. I was like, that's great. Put that pressure on laddie. I don't know if he's just trying to wind them up or something. But
right, okay.
I love it. But
and
you're right. You're right. He's got in the place. He's just putting them in the box, and it's the same with the St Mirren goal, where he's at the back post, ready, waiting. Exactly what you're saying.
I think the best thing, as you said, was the fact that he got the ball. No running into the crowd, no nothing, no celebrating. Get the ball. We're going to win this. Like, just get the ball. Let's go, type thing. And again, it's a mentality thing. They get Martin Boyle scored a last minute equaliser one time at Easter Road, and they had a pitch invasion. Do you know what I mean? So it's different. It's different. And again, I said it in the group chat there after it. When the dust settles, we're kind of disappointed not to pick up a point, whereas they've got a goal to put on their derby highlight reels to celebrate. And we move on. Anything else catch your eye for the game? Anybody else that we've not spoke about that you wanted to touch on? Or
just one thing I would like to say is at the end of the game, the players were standing in front of the Dunbar end. I thought it was quite nice. Shankland just pushing Wilson forward, go and take the acclaim, pal. That's on you. You know, that's you getting us a point today. You know, go and soak it all up kind of idea. This is why you play football at the end of the day. And I thought Shankland was really, really good at that. And these are the kind of things that maybe go to some fans or whatever goes maybe unnoticed. But I thought that was a really good a good touch for him today.
Aye, but remember, Kev, he's fat, overweight, doesn't care. He's causing issues in the dugout, in the changing room, and he's not trying.
Sorry, actually, it was the Shankland that done that. It was Frankie Kent, because Shankland's already up the tunnel.
Aye, sure.
Sorry, my bad.
We actually remember Anki say spat and Dhanda left, had a Rangers top on underneath his top. He was running up the road. He was trying to get back for the St Mirren game. He said I remember he was shouting to his mum in the stand, "Is it on Premier Sports?" His mum chucked him the Fire Stick at one point so he could get it on the TV on the way home. And that I forgot. Sorry, kickback. Forgot that's what needs to happen. Did you see that we got slaughtered on kickback? Actually, speaking about it,
what's that?
We got slaughtered. Sorry, Mr. T.
It's not the first time we've been slaughtered.
Who were upset this time?
I know. How did we know? And someone called us twats or something like that, which was funny.
Twats.
I know.
He's not the first person to call us that.
That's great. That's great. Actually,
humdinger.
Humdinger for Kevs.
There's a big Kev's humdingers, blooming twats.
A big piss off from Kev.
Piss off. You blooming twats.
I got told today that I am worse at a game than I am on the podcast. I take that as a credit.
Oh, good.
I actually for the last 5 minutes I took the Corbett stance, i.e. I sat on my arse and never watched the game, had my head in my hands.
Well, that is the Corbett pose. I'll give you that. It was funny, someone shared the picture from Thursday night when we were singing Bring On the Hibs, and I had my head in my hands like, oh no. It's too early. It's too early, don't do it.
The boy I said beside Paul, he always looks out for you now that he knows where you sit. Because I find out he's like, Corbett looks to be having a nice time on Thursday. I was like, he probably is now.
No, I was still head and hands.
No, were you? Didn't notice that.
Still head and hands. I don't know what it is. I can't get rid of it. I've tried my best. I can't get rid of it. I can't do it. It's because I've got this. It means too much. I used to be able to not care about Hearts and would leave, but now that we're kind of the face of Hearts and we're open.
It's not this. It's your Sky Sports, your BBC, your super scoreboard or whatever. You put your face out there. That's it.
I'm there like, and I didn't want us to be rubbish and get beat. So. But I think if you look at his first week and a bit in charge, 2 wins, a draw. I think very impressive. And we go back to now talk about Thursday. I think if we hadn't won in the manner in which we had against St Mirren and followed up in the manner in which we won in Europe on Thursday night, then maybe you look at today's game and say that there was, was very points could have been Robbie or Naismith-esque get points when we sort of fell our way out of the game. But I think that there's an identity in the short period of time that he's been here, what he wants to do, what he says in the press, what he says in his pressers is what you can see on the park. I like this, having went 18 months of having that baldy terrorist in the dugout, no even clap the fans or anything like that, to have him kissing the badge and talking about this is our ground and we do what we want in it and all that stuff. I'm like, yes. I'm all for it.
He knows how to make us all like well in the way. Like, love it.
I know. I like one of the things that I've seen, one of the threads, as always, what happens, we have an unbelievable performance on Thursday night. So someone started a thread on Kickback to say that they couldn't hear the ultras or whatever it is. And someone in it had said, I wish I knew the words to the song they're singing. They're singing a tune to the Wayne Foster song. I'm like, But I must admit, it took me months to learn how to go Neil, Super Neil, Super Neil, Super Critchley. Like, I had to look at my phone a couple of times. I had to get notes out to be like, what are we singing? It was a doozy. And then someone said, they were bouncing up and down for like 20 minutes solid singing a song, but I couldn't make out the words. I was like, the one where it goes, Heart of Midlothian, Heart of Midlothian, away. I was the same way. I had to get my phone out as well. Halfway through, I was like, what are we called again? What's this? Hearts of Midlothian. Like, Hearts FC. Like, I get it. It was hard. But let's talk about Thursday, because Thursday was the most aggressive, high tempo, in your face, all out attack that we've seen probably since Burley. There's my wild statement.
I've got another one for you. That's the best first half of football I've ever seen us in European competition.
Fish.
In my lifetime, I'm calling
Fish.
Who you hit? Well, we have a better first half.
The Swiss team, Zurich.
To be fair, Kev, it's a very good shout.
Thank you.
We were
raging
the first half.
I'm actually kind of annoyed that. We did not score though.
I still have nightmares about that Liam Boyce header at the back post. But no, I'm with you, Tam. I think that for the minute the game started, we were all over them. They couldn't get Hillander looked like he just wanted the game to end. He didn't know he had a shite at a haircut. He was all over the shop. He could not.
He expected like old school Hearts. Like he was expecting Liam Boyce. He was expecting something else. I don't know. It was.
And I think the difference there as well was the fact that in the parallels between Zurich and that game are quite good, because actually they had 1,000 fans in the ground. They made a lot of noise before the game started. They were doing their stupid huddle, all their Celtic stuff that they like today, and then never heard a single fucking thing from them for the minute the game kicked off, because we absolutely battered them and they couldn't and had nothing to sing about. There were wee guys in the main stand with their wee scarves and all standing and singing before the game. I hope you had a fucking horrendous night. It was superb to shut them up. But Hearts were brilliant from the start, to a man. I couldn't tell you a player on Thursday that I thought had a bad game.
No.
Even the subs, I thought they all contributed, they all played well, and I think the only half chance they had, I think they hit the post, but the guy was miles offside, so it wasn't even a chance. Doesn't even count. Same of the day, keep showing that Triantis chance or whatever it is, but it was offside. It wasn't
by a mile.
By a mile. It wasn't even going to count. So I don't know why we keep showing it. But from front to back, Hearts were superb, absolutely superb. The only thing Shankland did today was score. Shankland was phenomenal on Thursday night. Everything about him, and like I said in the intro there, if we'd actually took our chances, it would have been well more than that. Alan Forrest's chance is a half chance at best. Blair Spittle's is a half chance at best. Keeper makes an unbelievable save for Shankland. I am right behind that. I can't tell you how good a save that was. He was nae right to save that ball. It was a brilliant save. Frankie Kent's header is an absolute sitter. I have no idea how he misses. No idea how he misses. Blair Spittle is inches away from scoring a second. The one where I said before, when he wins the ball on the touchline and runs past is inches wide. We absolutely battered them in the first half.
It was definitely up there in regards to European performances. It was definitely one of the best performances.
Just say it was the best, Kev.
I genuinely don't think it was. I think if you go back to that Zurich game, I think that was that was tremendous. And yeah, Corbett and I are of a certain age that we'll remember other games. You know, Stuttgart was brilliant in regards to the performance that night. The game against Bayern Munich, I remember it. And okay, it's hazy now, don't get me wrong, but to come away from a game at home against Bayern Munich, who even still then were one of the biggest teams in Europe, and beat them at Tynecastle, that's a massive, massive statement at that time. The quarterfinals, the old UEFA Cup. But yes, the performance on Thursday night was, if that's what we expect or what we to expect in the weeks and months coming, then I've got no issues at all. I like the fact that we were high, we pressed, we never let them settle, we never gave them any chances to really get themselves into the game. And I fully understand that you cannot play that type of football for a full 45 minutes first half and then a 45 minutes in the second half. There's always going to be times where you just can't quite make that kind of high press. But when that particular time, was there, guys like Boateng, Devlin tidied everything up. They never. Yeah. I don't recall even Gordon making a save in the first half.
Didn't. To be fair, though, Kev,
one in the second half.
That's where I think Corbett makes that Burley comparison. Though we just went out there and absolutely battered them, and that's exactly what we've seen under Burley, isn't it? I know you don't want to make that comparison, but Corbett.
No, but when I look back to how we ended up talking to Hearts about the atmosphere and all that stuff. Like, I look at the Fiorentina match, Palk at home, Pilsen, even this season, and think I grew up listening to stories and watching Hearts punch well above their weight in Europe. Well above their weight. And what they did was, they didn't have great players, but what they did is they gave you everything that they had. They played at the very best of their ability. They chased everything down. They ran everywhere they could. They did everything that they possibly could. They never left anything on the park. And we needed an own goal versus Liverpool at home to get beat 1-0, then went and got a draw away from home with them and went out on the away goal or whatever it is. You would beat Stuttgart at home, where we were brilliant. Bayern Munich to go back, Leipzig if you want to go back further, all that stuff. And watching that, the last game that we played in Europe at 4:45 on a Thursday night was Istanbul at home, and it was shite. No shots on target. We get battered. We were nowhere near them. Never laid a glove on them. We tried to be too fancy with how we set up. We tried to have. Remember, we were trying to play out for the back, and they were just letting us have the ball. They were their trigger was to press when Gordon kicked it. Gordon's kicking's rubbish. You'd kick it into our own half, and they'd had 4 or 5 players in our half already, and they just battered us, and we couldn't get out. So for us to show up on Thursday against a side that, all right, they're not world beaters, it's no Bayern Munich or any of those sides or whatever, but it's a side that's got pedigree. It's a side that's played in bigger competitions, that have won their own league, all that stuff. And we didn't give them a minute's piece on the ball. We didn't give them a single second. We harried them. We made it uncomfortable for them, and we took our chances. And it was everything that you want from a Hearts side in Europe. And it now puts us in an unbelievably strong position to potentially get out of that group, which would be an unreal achievement. But I loved Thursday. I thought it was absolutely class.
So good, man. Go on, Kev.
I was just going to say, I think a lot's got to be said, though, that, that is two of the teams that you would expect to pick up points against. The next three games are a lot tougher. But in saying that, Bruges got beat quite significantly. We got beat 3-1, 4-1, something like that, on the earlier kickoff on Thursday. Heidenheim, they drew the day 0-0. So if you go with the right attitude in these two games coming up, again, why not?
Like I say, I think that we're at a point where his thoughts on the game were, this is our patch, this is our game. We're going to go and play the way we want. We're going to own our park. We're going to.
How good is that quote, by the way? I know you've quoted it.
But it's only good if you win. You look ridiculous if you don't. And I'm all for it. Like I said, it's great to hear all these stuff, but you have to go out and do it, and he done it, and that's what I like. That's what I like the most. Is we've for too long we've done all of our talking off the park. Like, go do your talking on the park. You came in and says he was here to turn it around. Cool. Win 4-0 at home in your first game. Cool. Right. I'll take you a bit more serious. Next game, batter a team in Europe. Sound. Yep. I'm listening. Like, do you know what I mean? And I thought the performance all over the park on Thursday was brilliant. I thought the atmosphere was great. Shows you the potential of what we can have in Europe if the team's at it. If the team's at it, you'll get response from the crowd. You get response from the crowd. It gets the players up even more. Makes it intimidating for the team that we're playing against. Yeah, just a thoroughly enjoyable game. It's the most I've probably enjoyed being at a Hearts game for a long time. I think the last home Hearts game that I enjoyed as much with outside of a derby victory, maybe with the St Mirren Cup game, we won 4-2. But I just thought Hearts all over the park were absolutely sensational on Thursday.
You talk about atmosphere and being intimidating, that every time one of their players had a shot on target, that it would be splashed wide in that, and surely that has an aspect. It's mad. Yeah.
Aye, it was good. Right, come on, look, the next home game, Wednesday, another opportunity to see Critchley ball. We'll do our predictions before we end this happy clapping episode. I'm sorry for the people that tuned in for Tears and Snotters. If we lose on Wednesday to my hero Derek McInnes, then you might get some tears and snotters. Kev, what's your prediction?
6-0.
Class.
Come on.
Who's scoring? Shankland Odom.
That's all you're asking for, isn't it? You're looking for 3 points. I was asked a question today about, do you start Wilson, given the fact that that's a goal against St Mirren, a goal again today. I said no. I don't think you start him yet. I can understand why people will be asking for it, but he's still a young lad, still learning his trade. Just let him bide his time. Let's don't burn him out or anything like that. We know perfectly well, as Hearts fans, how much tears and snotters can come, and a bad performance can quite easily turn people against him.
He's got his chances today because the folk that played in front of him have run the legs off the back four. They're probably a lapse in concentration. They're not quite where they need to be. They don't know where he is, and he's full of energy and able to come on. I think he makes a more impact in the game when he comes off the bench. I don't think he's ready to start. He's bringing people onto a park that can score goals. Again, you watch Shankland go off, or Vargas go off, or Spittle go off, or whoever, and think, thank fuck, like, do you know what I mean? I'm going to get a break. And you think, oh God, here comes somebody else coming on that's got goals, that can score goals. you think you're getting a break, you're not getting a break. So the more he can get in, get chances, get goals under his belt, then the more asset that he becomes to the club. And I'll be looking forward to see if he can get on Wednesday. So, what's your proper score, Kev?
I still think it'll be a tough game. We know perfectly well the kind of team that McInnes puts out and what Kilmarnock are like. They're big, they're strong. So I do expect it to be quite a tough game. But I would hope that we can win it by 2-0.
Okay. Sam?
I'm still a bit worried about our defensive sort of situation, so I will go 2-1.
Okay. Because it's worked, back to the Desmonds, so it'll be 2-2. We're unbeaten with the Desmond run, so I think it will be 2-2.
Calls the pen.
I've actually stopped writing in a notebook, Kev, because I haven't wrote since I've been on my holiday, and I come back, I didn't have a notebook, so we've won the last 3 games. So
we've not won the last 3 games.
Unbeaten in the last 3 games.
We won 1-1.
We won 1-1, mate.
Oh, sorry, I forgot about that.
Cool. Right. Well, obviously, by the time we podcast again next, we've probably played Kilmarnock and St Johnstone. So,
should we do the predictions as well?
Unless we absolutely win 6-0 on Wednesday, then we'll do a podcast. We'll do a live reaction to a 6-0. All right.
Sounds good.
Right, troops. See you all later.
Catch you later, lads.
Catch you.
Gorgie rules.